Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. And today we're going to be talking about how to speak to your buyer market analysis. My name is Tom Shivlin. I'm the Director of Training here at Buyside, and I'm going to be taking you through this today. So first, a quick agenda for what we're looking at. So we're going to talk about what is a BMA or a buyer market analysis and how we can use that in our business. We're also going to talk about how you can get your BMA. So we've talked briefly about how to use your home valuation site and how to get those new leads. And we've seen that in previous webinars. If you haven't seen those, you can check those out on our YouTube channel. But we have gone through that. So now once we've got those new seller leads, how do we win those new seller leads? So we can show you one of the ways that we've found that helps agents win their new listings. And then we'll also talk about how we can speak to those BMA pages. So there's not that many. There's some 5 to 6 pages, depending on your report. And they're pretty simple to speak to. So this is going to be a quick tutorial on what is on those pages and how we can speak to those to help us win those listings, and some ways that we found agents have used that to win those listings, get people to sign on that dotted line. Then, of course, we're going to have a Q&A at the very end. So if you have any questions, you can see there is a questions box over on the right-hand side. So I do have everybody muted just because these things can get sort of loud. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and use that chat box that you see over on the right-hand side, and we'll answer any questions that you have once we get to the very end. Okay, so this first slide is one we've seen before, which is big data is not the future, it is now. Now, how that applies to our buyer market analysis is that when you have a listing presentation, a lot of us use a CMA, right? This is our comparative market analysis, and those are great reports. Those are a great thing that we can partner with our BMA to help us create this world-class listing presentation. But the only problem that we ever have with our CMA presentations is that it's data, it's information that's happened in the past. It's information that we've seen, right? We know that that's already happened. So we can pair that with our buyer market analysis, because that is information that is right now. We can send that out and we can show them what buyers are interested in their listing, and a listing that looks just like theirs. And we can even show them actual buyers, people that are represented by agents that are ready to buy now, that we can say, hey, you know what? I know you all seller clients have the same 2 questions, and that is, what is my listing worth and who is going to buy it? And with your buyer market analysis, you can answer both of those questions, and very quickly. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. Now, the issue with some of this information is that it's everywhere, right? We know that we can see there are buyers out there, or people that are interested in their listings, because some of them are in our CRM, some of them are in our neighbors' CRM, some of them are in our open house sign-ins, some of them are in our mobile devices. There's a lot of people that are in a lot of different places, but we'd have to track all those folks down, and that's where Buyside is going to help, is that we take all of those data sources, all of that information, and we put it into one usable place. So today we're going to be talking about that middle icon, which is winning more listings, how we can take that data that is in all of those different places that we use for our data, for our business, that we have, that we know is out there, and we're able to consolidate that information and use it to win those listings and actually put a dollar value on that. And you can see that once we use this. Okay, so we're going to jump in now and see what that BMA actually looks like. How do we run it and what is on those pages? But before we get into the product, there is one thing I do want to show you, and that is we have 2 resources for you. You can see Buyside Insiders, which is our Facebook Insiders group. So if you have any questions, or if you want to see some best practices, tips and tricks, or some testimonials to see how other people have used this, you can see it on Buyside Insiders. That is, again, it's a Facebook group, but you can also get there by going to buysideinsiders.com. And you can also go email us at support@getbuyside.com if you run into any issues, or if you want a quick tutorial about what we talked about today. This video will be posted online, but if you want a real person to walk you through it, you can always email us at support@getbuyside.com, and we'd be happy to help you out with anything that you need. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in. And this is our dashboard. So the last place that we left off was, we're going to go into our marketing suite and go into my leads. So here it is. And this is where we're going to see all of those leads. So once we send out our home valuation site, we put that on social media, we send it out in our email signature, and you're going to see these leads start to show up. So we can see that here. All right, so we can see all of those leads here. Now, once somebody contacts us, let's say they had submitted an inquiry. So they went onto our home valuation site and they selected that contact button. You can see that here. There is our contact information here. So I can call this person and say, hey, let's set up a meeting. Right now, it's probably going to be a Zoom meeting, so we can set that up. But I'll also want to, one, see what they saw on that page. So we can see here's the address that they entered in. What I can do is I can just click on that and it's going to show me the home valuation page for that listing, for that actual person. So while we're reviewing that information with them, we can go back and see what they saw so we know what we can speak to. Now, again, it does take a few minutes. We know that because when we click on the address, when we're running that report, it has that loading screen. And we can actually see it over here. Okay, so here we go. So here is that report, and this is what they saw. So when we sent this out, somebody clicked it on social media, they put in their address, and this is the information that they saw. So now let's go ahead and go back to our leads page here. So this was the person, and they sent in that inquiry. What I'm gonna do is just click create BMA. It's already there over on the right-hand side. So I can save myself a step, click on that, it takes us to the buyer market analysis section. Now, if I wanted to get here, all I'd have to do is click on BMA on the top. In case they hadn't done that, let's say it's somebody else, but you wanted to run this report for them anyway. What I can do is click BMA right there on top, and then we'll just have to enter the address just like we normally would. Okay, so I clicked on create BMA, it used that address, and here we are. So now we're under verify/edit the property details. And this is where we can see it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home. The living area, it's 2,102 square feet. This is just where we're gonna check. So we can make sure that that is correct. So let's go ahead and select next because I know it is. And then we have our AVMs, our automated valuation models, and we use 4 different providers. You can select 3 of these. So some people don't like to use Zillow. That's the first one on the list. Now we know that our clients are going to be looking at Zillow. So we always say it's a good idea to have that in there. Again, completely up to you, but they're going to be looking at that number. So we might as well have that in our report so we can address it, so we can talk to them about it right off of the bat. So I'm just going to click these first 3. You can see they're highlighted and it's going to give me those valuation models. Now I have the 3 there, and I can put in what my own estimate is going to be. So the point of this slide, once we get into it, you're going to see is there's variation, a ton of variation. It looks like almost $250,000 difference in these ranges here. So we'll talk about that once we get to the page. But the point there is that these are computer models. They're guesses, right? It's an algorithm that's not a person walking the streets. That isn't somebody that has expertise. It is a computer model. So what we can do is add in our own expertise. And I can say I have my estimate here. So let's say 950,000, and we can say up to 955,000. So we have a much shallower range there. So let's go ahead and select next. And what it's going to do is show me the featured buyers. So who are those actual people that are looking to purchase a listing just like this one? So now I'm going to select generate PDF. In a second, you're going to see this show up. But what it's doing is what we talked about in the beginning. So it is gathering all of that information from online. So from your CRMs, from the other people that are in Buyside. So the dashboards, who are those people that are on the dashboards? We can see those buyers and all of that other information. So now it's going to compile that information and put it into a report for me to use for my client. Now, this will pop up in a second, but you know what? Let's actually jump over to the report. This is the report. I already ran one. Now, this is our demo account. You're going to see it has that nice little Google image on top, but yours is probably going to have an image that your brokerage provided. So it's going to look really pretty on top. But I would come in here. Okay, so it just finished the report. That was the other screen that we saw. So we can go back here. And this is asking you to save it. It is a PDF report, so we can see that I can save it to my desktop. I'm actually not going to do that because what I'm going to do is select view report. So if I select that view report button, it's going to bring up the digital version. So I can now review this. So if I'm talking about it with a person, if I'm reviewing this report, or if I'm putting it inside of my CMA presentation, this is what it would look like. It is also branded to me. So I've got my image, perfect, there we are, along with your contact information. So when we send this to them, the follow-up report, they're able to see this and know, and they can contact us right from this page. Now, the second part is about your brokerage. This is all of that information that why they would want to sign with you because of this brokerage. Now, remember, they're not signing with us just as an agent. I am representing somebody, right? So not only are we going to be able to sell ourselves, but we can tell them why ours is the brokerage they would want to sign with. So they can do that as well. So those are the first 2 pages. Now we're down on our home valuation models. And we've talked about this with our home valuation site, but look at these real-time valuations. So we're talking to them about what their home is worth. That's that first question. How much can I get? What is my home worth? And I can speak to these numbers. So these are the ones they're probably going to be viewing online when they're doing their own research. Now take a look at just the valuation models themselves. There is some pretty big variation here. We can see there's about $40,000 worth of variation here, but also each one of these has a range. So they're saying this is the number we think, but it could be anywhere from $786,000 all the way up to over $1 million. So those are all realistic numbers for these automated valuation models. It could be anything. It could be one of these ranges. So while we're talking to our client, what we say is, this is what they're talking about. They mean that your home could be worth anywhere in between those numbers. So we're going to use expertise. We're going to use somebody that's in the market, that's going to be able to see those numbers and say, you know what, this is what our listing should be priced at. This is what we suggest we should price our listing and why. So we can also have in our valuation model and see what that number is, so we can show them that. And not only that, we can use data. So we're talking about how much to price their listing. Let's use some actual market information. And this is, where are those buyers? Does their home land in a high area, or is it in a low active area? So we can show them this market information. And again, this is compiled from all of that data, from all of those different sources. So we know where people are looking for listings, and we can see that it has all of this information. This is like our weather map here. So we have our buyer heat map, and we can say, you know what, you land in a higher area, so maybe we can be a little bit more aggressive with that price. But the point here isn't that we cross our fingers and hope that it lands in a red area. The point is that we have this information. This isn't my opinion. This isn't me using expertise. This is data. This is information that we got from the industry, right? So now we're seeing this here. We're saying, you know what, this is what's going on in the market right now. So we're able to show them that information to help make that decision. We also have our buyer funnel. Again, this is this is a demo account. So these numbers aren't very big, but you're able to show them how many people are looking for a listing online that looks just like yours. So 1, how many activities are inside of your brokerage? 2, how many activities are inside of your brokerage and within that school district? Activities within that school district and the price range. And then here, this number on the bottom will be people looking for their listing, right? In the school district, within the home's price range, and that are in a 4-bedroom. So is it in the area? Is it in your price range? And are they looking for that many bedrooms? So they're looking for a listing that is just like yours. So we can see that. And these numbers are usually up in the tens of thousands of numbers. Again, demo account. So you're not going to see that. But when we're pulling that real data, you're going to see some really big numbers in here. We also have some more information on by bedroom. So of those people, 46% of those folks are looking for a 4+ bedroom. And then of course by price range. So I can see all of these price ranges. So where we were, so we're gonna land over here, and this is how many folks are looking for a listing in our price range. We can see there are about 5. Now, not only that, so we're seeing all of that online activity, and they go, well, that's great. That's wonderful that we can see how many people are looking online, but how many actual people are there? Well, let's slide on down. And so this is our last page, and this is the knockout punch, right? This is where we get to say, you know what? Sign on that dotted line. I've got 11 people currently represented by agents in our brokerage that are looking to buy that listing. These are real people. They are represented by agents. They're ready to buy. So we can see these people here. So we have potential buyers. And the point isn't that this number is 5 or 11 or 20 or 25. The point here is that you have this number. You know how to contact those people. Now you'll notice that it does have the buyer ID here and not an actual name. That's because we know this product, this software was built by a real estate agent. So we know that your contacts are sacred. We don't share that information with anybody. You are the only person that's going to be able to see their personal information. So all 11 of these people are represented by other agents. So we've seen there are buyers on our buyer dashboard, right? Well, there's buyers on everybody else's dashboard as well. So that's where these people are coming from. They are real people inside of the system that are looking to buy a listing, and they are now put, their buyer profile matched this listing. So we're saying there's 11 matches for the listing that I just ran, and I can then reach out to those agents. So sign on that dotted line, sign with me as an agent, and we can start to get all of these people inside of your home, and we can get it sold that much faster. So that's how we speak to this page. Now, really briefly, I know we'll want to see how we can do that. And a way to do that would be to come onto your dashboard here, and you have your listings. So we can see we've got all of these listings, and we can see matches here. So if I were to put that listing that I just saw onto my dashboard, when they signed on the contract, it gets associated with me on the MLS, it automatically is going to populate here on your dashboard. So you can come over here and then click on your listing, and you'll be able to see all of those matches. So all of those people, here they are. So this particular address is only one. If we put that other address in, it would be 11. But you'll be able to see all of those buyers. We can click on that buyer ID, and here is the agent. So now I can reach out and say, hey, I have a listing for your buyer. There we go. And you can say whatever else you'd like to say. Hey, let's get this person into my listing. And then we can sell our listing that much faster. So there we go. So that's how it works, is we have our great buyer market analysis. We can show them the CMA portion of this, right? All of those comparable listings. What is your listing going to be priced at? All of that great information. We can pair it with our buyer market analysis, helping answer those two questions that they have. What is my listing worth, and who's going to buy it? I can show you there's 11 people that could potentially buy your listing that we have already locked. So there we go. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the dashboard, but if you have any questions, I can see there's a couple in here already. Go ahead and put them into that questions box, and we'll be happy to get started with our Q&A. Okay, so the first question I see is, it looks like there was somebody having some trouble hearing. So this was recorded, which actually is the second question there. Can we see the videos? Absolutely. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go over to YouTube, and all we're gonna do is type in up on top, Buyside training, and we should be the first one that comes up. I can type today, I swear. There we go. So we're number one right up there. So Buyside training, if you click on that, it's going to take you to our YouTube page. If you subscribe, you'll see any new videos we come up with, but all of the webinars, they're there along the bottom. So if you wanted to see your home valuation site, that's probably going to be the most common. Who's going to buy your home, and all of these other great webinars that we've been running, and we'll continue to post these. So today's webinar, it's also going to go on that list. So once we're done with this today, we'll download it and throw it up under that webinar. So if you wanted to see some old webinars, you can see it there. But I'm actually going to copy that, and I'm going to throw it into the chat. So if you wanted to see our page, there it is. So it's in the chat right now. Okay, next question. Where exactly are the buyers coming from? Are they my buyers, the MLS, other sources, or only my buyers? Great question. So let's actually go back here. And I think I briefly touched on this, but here's where the buyers come from. So we can see I've got 3 buyers on my dashboard here. And if I went to see all my buyers, you can take a look at the full list. But again, I've only got 3 here. So the buyers that are on that list are all of the buyers that are on any agent's dashboard in your brokerage. So everybody within your brokerage is going to have buyers on their dashboard, like I can see my 3 here. But all of those are going to be the pool of buyers. So anytime somebody has a buyer that has a profile that matches that listing, so each of these buyers has a buyer profile, and we can actually go back here. If we clicked on one of these, you'll see the buyer profile here. So this is the buyer themselves. And if you click edit profile, you can actually see the buyer profile. So everybody that has a buyer will have a profile that looks like this. If that profile matches your listing, it will show up as a match. So those 11 people that we took a look at, they have a profile that matched that listing. It's in the area, it's the right bedrooms and bathrooms, it's the right property type, it's all of that. So that's where they come from, is everybody's dashboard. So again, that is within your brokerage. It isn't any brokerage anywhere. It's just an internal tool. So that's where it comes from. So there is a large pool of buyers that you're able to see. Now, the reason we do it like that is because our CEO, Chuck, when he was in real estate and he was selling listings, people kept asking him, how do you find buyers so fast? And he said, that's easy. I don't look for buyers. I look for the agent that has buyers. So we built this on that philosophy, is that we're looking for agents that represent buyers, serious buyers. So when you have this listing, you can close it that much faster because we have access to any and all of those buyers through the agent that represents them. Okay, so next is, how are my buyers and my listings populated on Buyside? Another great question. So there are going to be sources. So for buyers, so just speaking about the buyers, there are a few sources where those can get imported into Buyside. So let's say somebody creates an account on your agent website, and that is they're favoriting listings, they're saving searches. We'll get a partial print of what they're looking for in their buyer profile, and you'll see those show up here. The other way is you add in your buyer. So when you are working with a person, that you can select add buyer and fill out a profile for them. So you can go in and add all of that great information in, and then you'll see them show up here. Now you will notice that each of these buyers has stars. Now that is how strong this buyer is. So when somebody gets imported in from your website, or let's say it's somebody that gets imported in from your CRM, because that happens as well. If you use KV Core or Moxie or any of those other places, we do get that feed. So if you have a buyer in your CRM, you'll see it show up here. But we do have the strength, the buyer strength here. And so those 4 stars represent, do they have a purchase by date? Are they ready to buy? Are they pre-qualified? And are they represented by an agent? So those 4 things tell us that this is a really strong buyer. So if they get imported in from any one of those sources and they are not a 4-star buyer, but you know that they are somebody who's interested in buying and they have all 4 of those things, you can come in and select edit profile and then fill out the rest of that profile. So again, if they get imported in, it's not always a complete profile because we take all of the information that we're given, but it may not be a complete picture. So you can, of course, use this and then make sure that that person is as strong as possible. So when we see those matches, those 11 matches, those 4-star buyers are going to float to the top of the list. So that's where the buyers come from. Is any one of those places. Either you can add it in or it gets imported in. The listings. So if a listing is associated with you on the MLS, you'll see it show up here automatically. So if you have any listings where you are the seller agent, those are just going to come over. You don't have to do anything. Now, there are 2 other kinds of listings that you may see. Now, this does depend on brokerage because there are different rules in different parts of the country. But if you go up to add and you go to add listing, we have 2 others available. One is your quiet listings, and that is a non-MLS listing, right? It's a pocket listing. It's something that's never going to hit the MLS. Now, that is not allowed in a lot of places. So if you don't see this in here, that's because the rules of your area say that you cannot have it. So we've turned it off. We want to make sure that we're completely compliant with every area. Now, the next is coming soon listings, and that is a pre-listing. So it's something that's almost ready to hit the MLS. It's something that is, let's say you have everything ready, everything's ready to go onto the MLS, but you haven't gotten the pictures from your photographer yet, which is going to be that last bit here. You can put this into Buyside, fill all of this out, and we can start to get that interest. So let's say you just don't have the images, but you have the area, you have the bedrooms and bathrooms, all of that other stuff. So you fill out your listing here. So where is the address, the county, the school district? We fill all that out and we add it in as a coming soon listing. And remember, this is only an internal tool. So this is like standing up in the Monday meeting and saying, hey, I have a listing, it's going on the MLS next Friday. Does anybody have any buyers? We're able to do that in a digital version. So again, internal tools, so you can see all of that information from our coming soon listing. And then when it hits the MLS, let's say it was going to go live in 2 weeks. We can put that there and then start to get that interest. So you're not marketing it out into the world, we're just showing it to other agents that are in our brokerage. So we're able to see that, and when it does go live on the MLS, maybe we have some interest already and we can get that listing closed that much faster. So that's how we get the buyers and listings into our dashboard here. So that is one, buyers, they might get imported in, or you can add them in. The listings, again, those come in automatically unless it is either a pre-listing or a quiet listing. Whew. Okay, so that is all the questions I see. Thank you, everybody, for those great questions. And if you need anything else, I'll be here for a few more minutes. But thank you very much. We do have these webinars weekly, so I would encourage you to sign up for next week's, which let's go ahead and see really quickly is how to close deals faster. So we're going to be talking about some of those ways that you can use Buyside to see the buyers and the listings that match with your people. So we'll go ahead and add in that listing that we just saw. Like we're going to, let's say we signed that person, and we'll be able to see those matches and how we can use some of the different tools in here to help move that listing along. All right, thank you very much, and we will see you next week.